Greg, thanks for joining. Vlad, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Hola. ¿Cómo está? That's about it. Oh, no, wait. I do know more Spanish. Una cerveza grande, por favor. Aldo. No, grande. What's going on around here? You can't get good service. Okay. Thank you very much.
Sponsor oficial.
The official sponsor of PuntaDreamin. Gracias.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. Salud. Okay, so if I get through all of that glass of beer, this will be a great demo. Let's first start talking about this slide. Wop, wah. Okay, you've heard it enough by now, so we're just going to, if you are ever asked, are you going to buy anything from Salesforce based on features that are not generally available, you will say, C. No. No. Okay, then you all know this slide. Okay, I want to start where really we need to start, and that is thank you. Gracias. Without you, we would be nothing. Salesforce would not be here without you, because it is you, our customers, our community, that makes us what we are. The Ohana that we've brought here together this weekend is fantastic. I spent 15 years at a little company, you might have heard of them, called Adobe. I don't know, anybody heard of it? I, at that time, thought that was the best community in the world. And then I came to Salesforce. And I found out there's no other company out there that has a better Ohana than Salesforce. You all are incredible. So let's give ourselves a round of applause. And let's start talking about what we've done. I want a show of hands, how many of you are still on Classic? It's okay to admit it. Okay. Lightning? Switching back and forth between Classic and Lightning. Okay, there's a lot of us out there. Okay, you know, really, when we talk about Lightning, what we're really talking about is re-envisioning the way that we interact with business applications, because we are changing the model. If you think about Classic, Classic is really just a lot of data entry. Lightning can be personalized. It can be faster to get the jobs done, let us do more in less time. That's really what we were thinking about when we began to think about Lightning. And if you don't believe me, the ideas for Lightning began with you. You're the ones that drove us to Lightning. You're the ones that caused us to create Lightning, because you wanted different things out of Salesforce. And that is literally why we started the entire move to Lightning, to modernize that interface, to make it faster, to make you more productive. And if you don't know, it's not just about you. It's not just about us. It's about all the people out there that are consuming the Salesforce interface, the people that are interacting with Salesforce, your customers, on a day in, day out basis. Of course, as developers or admins, we interact a lot with Salesforce through the framework. Or maybe it's through the ecosystem. Maybe that's through the App Exchange or through the community. This is what Lightning is about. And there are over 700 features that you don't have in Classic. So over 700 features that will make you more productive through Lightning. In fact, our stats have shown that in Lightning, you are 41% more productive than in Classic. 41%. Think about that. Think about cutting your work week by 41%. We could all be at the beach drinking beer right now. But really, for us today at PuntaDreamin, we have to think about what does that mean for developers? This is the developer keynote. So what does lightning mean for us? I'm going to go drink a beer right now. Seriously? While Vlad tells us what it means for developers, and then I'll come back to talk about some more developer stuff. Vlad, take it away.
Thank you. So hi everyone, I'm Vladimir. I'm a senior product manager here at Salesforce. In case you didn't understand my Spanish introduction earlier. And where did you, here's a clicker. So, Lightning is so exciting and beautiful, but we're gonna talk about DX. So, and I really like the way he presented the Lightning ideas, that it was more than just a change in UI. It was a changing of perspectives, right? It's introducing a new approach to things, and in some way, or I would say in many ways, DX was the same. So it all started with us trying to understand, okay, what are you doing today? What our developers and administrators and partners, what their experience looks like today. And this is how it looks like. For people who do a declarative development using change sets, it meaning pushing diffs between environments, either your developer sandboxes, your UAT sandboxes, your production, your partial sandboxes, and so on. And there's some sort of development practices around source-driven development, where you might have some third-party source control system in place, but at the end of the day, it's also about pushing those metadata diffs, and just in some points, syncing them with your Git or any other systems that you might be using. And you can see it goes back and forth. There's no really like a clear path through it. So we start thinking about where we want to take the experience that our developers have today and what we want them to have tomorrow. And we came up across those 7 different things, and I'm gonna emphasize on some of them. So first of all, we want everything to be driven by the source. So at any point, you have a source of truth in your Git, in any other system you use, that you can use for development. And there's no more like, hey, I think I made a change on that sandbox. Can we make sure it will make into the release? No more of that. We want to make sure that the environments you use for your development are easy to create and easy to delete. So the moment you don't need them, you can delete them. The moment you need them, you can spin them up, put the latest code into them. And for those of you who might not heard about it, it's a scratch org concept, right? So from Salesforce DX, you can create a scratch org, you can push your source there. Scratch orgs are fully customizable. You can select what edition you want to have there. You want to select what features. So you can pretty much mimic your production environment there, with some exceptions, of course. So, and the end goal is clearly to make developers more productive, to empower a collaboration across them. So it's no longer, a separated people working on the same org, trying to push everything into the same release. We want to make it modular. We want to make them be better in collaboration. We want them all contribute into the same source. So that's how Salesforce DX was born. So there are 4 different concepts inside Salesforce DX that we took from looking into what you have to go through today and what we want to change. So first of all, as I said, source-driven development. Why? Because it provides you better agility, right? You can do more things if you can trust your source. Team collaboration. Well, we all know that collaboration helps to be more productive. It helps to deliver more. It helps to come with better ideas. The moment you don't have to solve those conflicts in code and figure out the releases, you can come up with better things. You can spend time, well, you can spend your time better. Same like with Lightning, you just freed 41% of your time. Now you can spend it innovating, right? So continuous integration delivery, we wanna you be able to do continuous integration. And we just saw this morning a presentation, I don't see the speaker here. Somewhere? Yeah. Okay. So it was a presentation on continuous delivery using DX. Great. So that's what we wanted to see. And we want to keep the tools we provide open. So we don't want to tell you, you guys go and use Git and nothing else. We want you to be able to select what tools you want to use and build it around your process. So here's how those tools and capabilities that we provide get into the development life cycle. So in the center of everything is a source control system, right? And your code editor, whatever you prefer. And we have CLI to help. The main component of Salesforce DX is CLI, command line interface, that allow you to do a lot of things. And we're going to talk more about it actually. And there's a sandboxes for UIT, there's a packaging we're going to cover a little bit, there's a continuous delivery and all other things. But center of this, again, is a source. And CLI, I would almost, like, it's not my deck, but I would almost put that CLI in the center, because everything in DX is based around CLI. And this is one entry point you all have into DX world. So now let's talk about source-driven development. So what we have in mind for you. And on the bottom of the slide, that's where we want to take you. We want to take you into new packaging experience, where right now what we provide is sort of modular development, when you can iterate on your apps in the ScratchOrx, but then at the end of the day you still need to convert your source into metadata API files and push them somehow. So that's not the end solution, of course. So we want to do it through packaging, where you can iterate around ScratchOrx and around your source code, and then push it through your packages, through developer control packages across environments. So that's a new way of doing it instead of producing those metadata files. So some of you, like, how many of you actually use DX on a daily basis? You? Just trying to get my counts higher, so I counted you. Adoption metrics, right? Okay. So how can you adopt Salesforce DX today? It's a big change. Let's be honest with that. It might take some effort to do that, but you can start today. And the idea of adopting DX, it's not all or nothing. You don't have to go as like, I'm doing DX, done, nothing else, just DX, everything in DX. If you don't do DX, you're fired. No, you don't have to do that. You can take, again, the idea is you have your process established. You guys all smart. You have companies built inside Salesforce industry. You all know in your business. So we want you to be able to take your process and just add DX into that, add DX flavor. And you can start with CLI. So all the Force.com tasks you're doing, all the metadata API deployment, Apex testing, they all can be triggered from CLI. And because it's triggered from CLI, guess it can be automated. You can integrate it into your continuous integration delivery system. So if you need to run Apex test, you can have a task that will run through CLI for you on schedule. And start your new projects using ScratchOrx. Start doing modular stuff. Don't jump into like, okay, I'm going to convert all my projects into DX today. Well, you might have a new project that is coming. Try DX. And by migrating tasks to a CLI, like as I mentioned, API deploy and retrieve all your comments in one place in CLI. User authentication, like no more configs files with your username and password. CLI provide you a web authentication. It's way safer, and trust and privacy and it's our priority here, right? Faster org creation with ScratchOrx literally takes. If I only knew how to do demo. on the laptop, I mean. I know how to do it on the DX. I would show you that it only takes few, maybe 15 seconds stop between the moment you type the comment, give me Scratch.org, and the moment you log in into Scratch.org. That's how it fast. No more that go sign up for developer edition org, wait for this email, click, and remember remember all those passwords and look through the mailbox. They're all in one place now. So let's talk about package development now. So we talked about how the source is everything, but ideally, our end goal is to empower you to do module development and provide you new packaging capabilities. And that's something where we're all talking about forward-looking statements here. Not everything is generally available, and the deeper I go into my deck, the more things I'll be like just making up to make you happy. So, just kidding, they're all real. If we look into your org today, what we have packages that you install from Apex Exchange. And we have what we call unmanaged metadata, or I heard the term happy soup. Don't know why. So this is how your org looks today. So idea of using packaging and module approach is to identify those parts that are grouped together and migrate them into separate packages. So at the end of the day, you have something like this. You have packages from Apex Exchange, packages from DX, and some happy soup leftovers that might not be available or might not make a lot of sense to migrate. This is a simplified picture for everything I've talked. So you see the Einstein taking blocks and Cody bringing them. Anyway, so what it will allow you to do? Well, changes in the package is automatically tracked. Your entire package is version controlled. Because you split everything into packages, you can have multiple releases. Different components of your org, different components of your business can be on different release schedules. No, they don't have to go all together and like, hey, this team is like not ready yet. Okay, they're not releasing their part. You can introduce dependencies, so you can have packages dependent on each other. This way, well, this team is not releasing, we're dependent on them. We need to postpone as well. And at the end of the day, we'll get that beautiful picture that I showed already. So, how to identify what to move to packages? Well, first of all, apps that you build, probably a good candidate. If it's something that you built, why not to build it into a package? Even you don't use packages today for distributing it, this is the way you distribute it across your environments, not necessarily going to sell it. Extensions for Sales Cloud, all sort of things. Extensions of App Exchange apps that you might written or created. Newly created metadata, Lightning pages, perfect candidate, Apex classes, then all can go together. So that idea is here that you can identify the code that can be released independently. Do not try to put all your work into one package. That's exactly what we shouldn't be doing, because you want to have small pieces that you can push separately on different schedules by building dependencies across them. By pushing one org into the same package, you just achieve nothing that you really want to achieve. Well, be careful about common schema, of course. Put it in a separate project, things that shared across multiple things. And the same goes for shared objects. So, and why is it beneficial for you? Well, it simplifies your continuous integration, of course. Again, it's source-driven. I said that word so many times today. You can introduce dependencies, so you know exactly what package version you need to release it to production. A lot of other things like authentication and stuff. Now we're gonna go deep into speculations. No, not really, because they're part that is already released. So for Spring 18 in CLI, we released third-party plugin support. It's in beta right now. SFDX core library beta. For Summer 18, we're targeting enhanced support for Apex logs, so you can do your Apex test and get those logs and it will be supported better, so you'll have a better capabilities understanding what is going wrong. Stuff like decomposition. We want to do better data import because now you have to create the data through SOCL or something or other stuff, or insert in metadata. So there's no really way to fake the data. So we want to improve that so you can get a scratch org with some data in it. So for sandboxes, in Spring 18 we have a sandbox cloning feature coming. The feature came. The goal is to get it into GA in summer. Data expert performance improvement, not really, I don't really know what exactly they improve in there, but it will be better and faster. Sandbox managements and App Hub coming in around winter 19. For sign up, so now we have a person accounts and developer edition Scratch org supported. So as I said, Scratch org supports a lot of things, but not all of them, and we're closing those gaps continuously. Org shape pilots coming that will allow you to just clone your org shape, like literally that's what it means. Like without creating a config files and trying to remember, well, I have no idea what I have in my production org. And the guy who created it 15 years ago might not even be in the business anymore. How do I figure out that, like, I don't want to go those iterations of things where I totally miss something. You can just clone it, clone the whole config. It's going in open beta, in a beta in winter 19. More features to support in Scratch orgs. And in packaging, Spring 18 we have a beta for locked and unlocked packages, formerly known as developer control packages. They're going GA. We're working on metadata completeness in summer. And winter we bring in second generation managed and unmanaged packages. They're going GA. All those things, you can ask me after, I can give you some details. You probably want to go and deep dive into all amazing resources we have on Trailhead first, because those probably can answer things better than I can do. But with that, I'm switching back to Greg, and he's still on his beer. Should I take your beer from you? Oh, you don't need this.
Okay. Still not through the beer. But let's see if we can make that happen. All right. Let's talk about something old. How many of you have a visual force page in your org? If you're not raising your hand right now, either you don't understand my English or you're lying. Because we all do. So let me say one thing up front. If you've never heard this, I want to say one thing up front. Visual force is not going away. Visual force is not going to die. Classic is not going to die. We are keeping Classic around. We will continue to support you on Classic. We will continue to support you in Visual Force. But we would really, 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 really like it if you would move to Lightning. You see, because Visual Force pages in Lightning look like 1999 is calling and wants its web page back. Ugh. That's why we gave you this new feature called Lightning Style Sheets equals true. And I have to thank my lovely wife for all the hard work that her team did on this to make it possible to add that little tag, actually not even a tag, the attribute to your Apex page tags, and that means you get that. No other code necessary, and you get a page. Is that 1999 calling? Okay. You get pages in Visual Force that look like Lightning. So, if you're thinking, well, I'm not going to move to Lightning because my Visual Force pages look ugly, that was a stupid reason not to move to Lightning, but now you can actually move and make them feel like first-class citizens inside of the Lightning experience. Speaking of Lightning, let's talk a little bit about the Lightning framework. The Lightning framework is actually composed of a lot of different things. It all comes together to give us what you and I see as the lightning experience. And we're all together building this. We are doing this partially internally by building new features, but you in the community and you as our partners are out there helping to move Lightning forward as well, building on Lightning and doing so. Once again, our statistics show that you can build things 44% faster in Lightning than you can in Classic. I'll prove it. Anybody ever tried to build a 2-column layout in Visualforce and hated life for the rest of the month? It's very easy in Lightning. So this is why we are talking about moving to Lightning. It is all about productivity, not just for our end users, but also for us as developers. And that means across the entire ecosystem. We are talking about all the way from folks who are doing absolutely no code to folks that are doing only code, and all of the places in between. We're going to make it faster for you to build these apps. And the way that we're doing that is my baby, called Lightning Components. I love, who's with me? Who loves Lightning Components? Woo! All right. Lightning Components are really the core of Lightning and the Lightning experience. Here's the way I like to describe the difference between Classic and Lightning. The Classic world for me is a jigsaw puzzle. You know, have you ever put together a jigsaw puzzle? You tore it apart. When you put it back together, what did it look like? The same thing. Because it's really hard to put a jigsaw puzzle back together and make it look different. But in the Lightning world, this is your box of Legos. You can go out to the store and you can buy the Death Star kit. And you can go home and you can put it together. And a week later, you can tear it all apart and decide, today I'm going to build an X-Wing. Because it's just a combination of reusable blocks. And that is what Lightning Components are all about. You see, with Lightning Components, we went out and we looked outside of the Salesforce ecosystem as well as inside of the Salesforce ecosystem. And we said, hey, we're going to build some components, but which ones should we build? So we actually went out and we did this audit. We found out at the time of our audit, there were 41 core components in React. There were 34 in Polymer. In Visualforce, there's 153 components, 153 individual Visualforce tags. And we said, but which ones do we actually need? So we actually went behind the scenes. And we actually counted the number of times that these components were being, these Visualforce components were being called and used in pages that we built and in pages that you built. And that gave us a good roadmap for what kind of components we needed to build for you. And that's what we started off doing all the way back in the summer 16 release. And with each release, as you can see, our numbers are going up. And with the spring release, we are now at 86 base Lightning components that you can use to begin building your own components. Now, if there's something that's not available, we haven't built it yet, please find me, tell me you need it, because that's how I get to plan a roadmap. And even while you're waiting on that component, the Salesforce Lightning Design System is still there for you. And you can actually use their blueprints within your components and even mix them in with our own base components to create your, what we call, experience components. Some of the components that we've delivered over the last couple of releases, things like a data table or file upload or path or tree. And this last release, we just released a tree grid. We gave you list views. Programmatic list views. I said, we gave you programmatic list views. And we've got more things coming. My favorite one right there in the middle for the future, coming very soon, is Lightning Map. Yes, you will be able to put Google Maps into your Lightning components with a single line of code. Ooh, that's pretty cool. And as you use these components, you begin to bring them together. And literally, it's just a line of code each time to give these rich experiences within your component. And I know there's some of you going, yeah, but we use Angular. What about us? Well, we actually also delivered another base Lightning component. It's the most boring component out there because it does nothing except give you a wrapper that you can wrap around your Angular, your React, your jQuery, whatever you have built as your own custom applications, and they can run right alongside of other Lightning components or even be included inside of another Lightning component. And in the future, we're going to make that development even better. Again, we want you to move all the way to Lightning and use the Lightning framework. But if you need to, we're going to provide a way for you to even have two-way bidirectional communication between those custom applications in other frameworks and our own Lightning framework. So the future looks very bright for those components. And the final question is, when is a component not a component? When it's a page. Did you know that every single Lightning page out there is a component? It is just a Lightning component. And you as developers can now build your own page templates for use in App Builder using the same markup that you use to build just standalone components or pieces of components, because that's all it is. The entire Lightning experience all boils down to a bunch of Lightning components working together. Now, in addition to Lightning components, we also have some services to help you along the way in your development. The first one is the UI API, or User Interface API. Now, when I heard about the UI API, I said, huh? Why? And what the UI API allows you to do is to actually call out, authenticated, call out to your Salesforce org and receive data, metadata, that describes any page. And that means you can rebuild Salesforce outside of Salesforce. You can take any record page, any list view that you want and build it into your own custom applications running anywhere, on Heroku, running as a Node application somewhere in the world, running inside of a custom mobile app. We don't care. We are giving you that access. And in the future, we're going to add on even more things that you can do. And that brings me to probably, okay, Lightning components, my number one feature. But Lightning Data Service, I'm in love with Lightning Data Service. It is really magical. When I got to Salesforce, I asked a question, how do I talk to a server? And they said, oh, you gotta go do Apex. I said, ooh, what's Apex? They said, don't worry, it's easy. I said, really? They said, yeah, it's just like Java. I said, that's easy? So I was literally jumping up and down with happiness when I saw Lightning Data Service the first time. Because Lightning Data Service, it allows you to do CRUD interactions, create, read, update, and delete a single record without writing Apex. You know what else that means? No more Apex tests. That's amazing. I can build Lightning components that can create, read, update, and delete records without writing Apex. If you want to see that, I've got another session later in the day. Come back, I'm going to demo it. But for the future, we're actually going even further than that, because currently the Lightning Data Service only supports a single record. So we can only retrieve a single record, we can only update a single record. But in the future, in the very near future, forward-looking statement, in the very near future, you will be able to do it with lists, with multiple records at a time. Again, all of this without writing Apex. Which brings me to, I don't test my code often, but when I do, it's in production. What's the fastest way to find a bug? Push it into production. You will find it faster than anything. So that means that we need to answer the question, how do I test my code? When I'm building Lightning components, up till now, the way you tested code was very simple. In your JavaScript code, you simply said console.log and wrote out whatever you were wanting to test. Say, did this value come back? I don't know. Let's find out. And that was really the only way that we could test our Lightning components in development. But now we're giving you the Lightning Testing Service. Lightning Testing Service allows you to write tests that run against your development, against your JavaScript, and tell you what is going on. Today, we are using a thing called Jasmine, the Jasmine framework, which is a standard JavaScript testing framework to write those tests in. But in the future, we are going to expand that to other languages, such as Jest, which is a very common language development testing language as well. And now I've got some really bad news. This has not been a developer keynote. This has been the worst developer keynote I've ever seen. Really. It's horrible. Because there was no code. So who would like to see some code? Yes? Okay. Aldo, how much time do I have? I don't know. I need about that much. All right, here we go. We're going to go do some real quick code if I can find my browser window. There it is. Okay. So I wanted to show you just a few of those things that we have talked about today. We don't obviously have time to demo everything. But again, I will do some more development here at the end of the day in my last session. But right now, I've just got a page up here, and I want to actually create a component for you. Now, everything that you see on the screen, except for the big area there in the middle with the details, and the header up at the top of the page, everything else on this page is a custom component. If I scroll down, there's some more components down the page there. Everything is a Lightning component. Oh, by the way, this is a Lightning component as well. If you're interested in seeing this, find me later. This is a Lightning component. But that Lightning component is running inside of a Visualforce page that I put inside of a Lightning page. You may be asking why. The answer is because I can. Lightning components can go anywhere. They can literally go anywhere. Anywhere on a page or anywhere that you need them through something we call Lightning Out. Even back into Classic. That's right, if I turn back into Classic, which you should never do. But if I switch back into Classic, that Lightning component is right there on the page inside of Classic, looking exactly the way it does here. Okay? So Lightning components, my friends, are the absolute future. So how do you build a Lightning component? I'm going to do that for you now. And I'm going to do it by firing up the developer console. Who's with me? Who loves the developer console? No way, boo. I'm not going to the developer console because I don't go to the developer console anymore. Instead, I go to a real code editor. In this case, I'm going to VS Code. Now, in VS Code, I've actually added in our plugins. We have some plugins in VS Code that will attach directly to Salesforce DX. Now, that means that I can stay in the editor that I like, using the workflows that I like, attached to Git, and I never have to even think about any of the way that I grab things or deploy things or create things because I have it all here. By the way, remember that the custom page templates I talked about? There's one right there. That's the way it looks. It just uses some Aura attributes to define that I'm going to be putting components into this area. And that's literally all there is to making your own layouts. Now, I'm going to create a brand new component. I'm going to start by using sfdx. Whoops, dx. So you can see I have a whole bunch of commands here that are all of my sfdx commands. And they are right here for me inside of Visual Studio Code. So I can do things like push my source, pull my source, or create a Lightning component. So I'm going to create a Lightning component right now. We'll just call it Punta. And here we go. Where do I want it? I want to store it in the standard place. And we are now creating a component right now in my Scratch org, and I am ready to go. If you don't believe me, you'll notice that over here on the left-hand side, we have my component file, we have my CSS file, my design file, all of the files that go into the bundle that make up a Lightning component. Now, I do have to warn you, I'm a very fast coder, so if you get lost, then I'll try to slow down or maybe do it again. But I'm going to start by creating my first component. All right, so there we go. Was that too fast for you? I can try to type slower. Okay, so I have my first component. And that component is just opening up a Lightning card. Lightning card, that is a base Lightning component. This is how you know it, because all of the base Lightning components start with the word Lightning. Okay, so I've got that first part done. Now, pay attention, because this is a little bit more code, all right? So there you go. Okay, so I've just created another component, and used another base component. This one is called a carousel. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and push this straight up. So you see down at the bottom of the screen it says sfdx force:/source push. So it is now pushing it up to my, whoops, I got an error here. Let's see. Open quote, oh, sorry. I've got something wrong right here. Let's see. Let me undo my code here. Just a second, because I think oh, here we go. When I pasted that, I actually got the wrong quotes. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and save that again. And I will push again, and this time I will cross my fingers, and there we go. I see that it has actually pushed, and if all has gone well, I should be able to go back over here. I should be able to go back up here to edit my page. And if I edit my page, if I scroll down, and I scroll down here in my list of components, and I don't see the thing that I was supposed to see. Okay, so let's try this one more time. Okay, let's save this file. All right, save, and now let's push one more time. It should tell me that, nope, it didn't see any results, so let's make it dirty and push again. Come on. Nah. The demo gods are not with me right now. That's so sad. Do I have, no? No, it should have. Oh, well, let's just actually open the demo. I'm just going to open the demo org one more time just to make sure that I'm actually really connected, because it may have lost its connection while I was closing and opening my lid. All right. So it's because of the beer. No, that can't be. Nothing. Oh, every time there's an error, I got to chug? Okay, yeah, no. All right, let me see if I can make it happen. I'll add some text. We'll save one more time. Let's push one more time. Cross my fingers, still no results found. Really? Okay, well, that's why actually before I started, I actually made the component for you. So let me just show you that component that I had already pushed a little bit earlier. I'm just going to drag and drop and put it right up here. I'll save it, and we'll go back here. We'll stay while we wait on the page to save. Come on, you can do it. All right, saved. All right, now, and we'll make a quick change to this. There you go. There is my component right here. You can see it says, see you in Punta. There's some great pictures. There's Aldo kicking things off this morning. And there's a bunch of crazy people on a bus. All right. But just to prove it one more time, I'm going to go back. I'm going to actually take that component. Let's do that one. That's the component, the carousel component. I'm going to go ahead and open that up right here. And then I'm going to say, see you in Punta in 2019. And we will go ahead and save this. And we will push this back up. And this time, everything should be good. We are pushing, we are pushing, we are pushing. And we got it. It did, in fact, push that new version of that component up. And so if we go ahead and refresh right now, we should see over there on the right-hand side, coming in here in just a second, see you in Punta in 2019. And with that, gracias.